people of the world of the internet. Welcome to this. My 1974 RA21 Toyota Celica that is currently sunbathing to get all the moisture up out of the bare steel before I epoxy coat it. Just in case there is any. I don't think there is, but extra careful step. Since the front fenders, the hood, and the trunk lid are all ready to go, all I got left currently holding me up from spraying the entire car is just finishing up this last little area of sheet metal repair. This whole section has already been taken care of. You can see there's all kinds of little welding marks where Fred pulled a bunch of these little dents out of the car. But yeah, enough jibber jabber, let's get to work. If you're new and you'd like to get caught up on this project, up in the sky somewhere is the last video where I made a transmission cross member for it. It really sucks that this thing had the luggage rack on the back because I would have just left all the original paint down here if it wasn't for that. I'm gonna have to, oh perfect, right where I wanted it. I'm gonna have to paint these bolts too. Okay, got it. This is crazy how light this trunk lid is. You'd think it was made out of aluminium. The top side is pretty much good to go. Already DA'd the whole thing in 80 grit. I literally cannot believe how expensive good quality paint is. I just spent $700 on epoxy primer. So what I got right here, a brand new sprayer. So none of this stuff is sponsored, FYI, but I got some solvent and water-based wax and grease. And because I used my sprayer for the phosphoric acid to do the bare metal with, I just went and bought a brand new one. Even though it's been rinsed and cleaned out, I don't want to take any chances. So this is gonna be just wax and grease remover. I'm doing the waterborne first because the waterborne wax and grease will leave a little bit of residue, whereas the solvent base flashes off essentially and will leave no residue. Pump, pump, pump up the jam. Pump it up a little louder. Da da, a brand new day. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. Yeah, that was disgusting. A bunch of dust from sanding. This right here is what separates a cheap paint job from a good paint job. All this prep work and attention to detail is time consuming, and if you're running a business, time is money. That right there is after 3 times going over it. There's still dirt on it. Round 4. That's looking better, but still dirty. That's good for waterborne. I can move on to the solvent based. Not cleaning these pads would be a stupid, lazy move. Just to be extra cautious, I'm gonna wipe this down too, because there's dust back here. If my fingers are touching the back side of this and then touching the top side, regardless if I have gloves on, that's a possible way to get dirt and shit on top of it. Deep. It's not hypercritical that I mask the back side of this. It really doesn't matter if I get overspray since this needs to get body worked right here. Just having this tape along the bottom edge like this will be enough when I have it in the booth with this facing downward. That as I'm spraying it will be enough to direct the airflow past it so the paint doesn't hook around and I get epoxy on the backside. Again, it doesn't really matter if it does happen because this is all gonna get sanded under here. I need to make sure this entire edge right here is completely bare metal and there's no spots that are missed. Like little tiny things like this. Even though that's the original primer, doesn't matter. All along this area where there's some deep sand scratches from previous bodywork, there's tiny little black dots in here. It's probably just the primer filler that was inside there, but just in case, knock it down with some 180 again. There we go. That's nice and clean. I don't know what someone sprayed on the underside of this hood, but it's absolutely disgusting and it's gonna suck when it comes time to painting this. Like, it almost looks like undercoating? I don't know. Oh yeah, that's probably undercoating. It's peeling, flaking off. Oh, a spider egg, great. welcome to the following day. I'm spraying out the epoxy. So this is stuff I'm gonna use in the whole car. It's some PPG DP50LF. This is not sponsored. This stuff was super expensive. This stuff is a 2-to-1 ratio, so I'm gonna go up to 4 and 4. It's almost a full cup. This should be enough for these panels. I already shook this stuff on the shaker for a good 10 minutes. I hate this part. I suck at pouring. I always end up pouring too much. See what I mean? I suck at pouring. Perfect. Okay. Shake up the catalyst really good. Perfect. I'm amazed I didn't screw that up. I'll stir this stuff up and let it sit for 30 minutes. And then this guy right here is my own gun. I finally have my own gun. It's the same one Fred uses mostly. It's a Nest Awada LPH400. Actually, one of you sent it to me, so thank you. Yay! First time I get to use my own gun now. I've never used this brand of product before, so it did its job. That's about all I can say. It was pretty easy to spray out. I used a little less than I thought I needed. I ended up wasting some product, but yeah, good, good. Let that sit overnight.
I mean, I'm sure there's some aftermarket stuff.
Sweet. Welcome to the following day. As you can see, I have the glass out of the car now. Beck stopped by this morning and took care of that. So now I can get inside around the weather stripping area. Yeah. So you're probably wondering what I'm doing about this engine bay as far as the paint inside there goes. And that's not gonna happen until that engine is finalized and I have the new engine back. But, oh, nerve-wracking. Don't fuck this up. This is disgusting. There's so much butyl on this shit. Luckily, I got a set of OEM Toyota gaskets so I can replace all this. Oh, it's so stringy. That is some gooey butyl. No! Oh, it's just stuck with the butyl. Crazy. See if I can get it to peel. Oh, it's so sticky. At least there's that little cavity that you can get in there right there. All the glue is wrong right here.
And all the houses were melting in this neighborhood I was walking through.
What the f? I'm just waiting for the car to call you daddy after you do that. Oh yeah, what's that? A little bit of wire wheel. So Fred has been working this quarter panel for the past few hours. You can see all the little spot weld marks, getting that big low spot out of it. That way when I go to bodywork this thing, I only have to use a minimal skim coat. I don't want a lot of filler on this car at all. This butyl is like my best friend right now.
Me and butyl are going steady.
Hey, it might stick. Hell yeah, I think it's going to. Yeah, that area looks hella difficult.
My vote is we make this out of lead.
I just literally looked at that. It has like the texture of a testicle. And you have to Botox it. Like Dave Chappelle said he was going to do to his. Did you ever see that stand up? It's pretty funny. Well, that moved. Hell yeah. So what the incredible Fredable egg is doing right now is essentially welding tiny little dots from his slide hammer to the sheet metal and then whacking it off. That's the wrong wording for that.
Nah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's coming out now.
Sort of.
So some areas right here along the seam where the metal is just completely gone, and we're gonna have to fill that. Now the headliner's dropped, Charlie just showed up and he's going to carefully weld those microscopic roof holes. Is it nerve-wracking?
A little bit. Do you have the welding felt from Dave?
Yeah, they stick to felt right underneath it. I mean, it's a tiny hole. That's what, never mind. Fire in the hole! Oh geez, fire in the hole! I'm amazed that Fred was able to get that as straight as he was able to without even doing the lead yet. This part is not going to be easy because of how thin the sheet metal is, but Charlie's far better a welder than I am, so I'm letting him do this. Welcome to the 4th day in this video. This has to be the last day. This is a lot of days. I drove the URQ to the shop today because we're actually having a German car meet. It's a little meet. There's probably about 15-20 cars or so here, but it's a nice turnout. The reason why I'm breaking this up into another day is because today Fred is doing the lead work on the back of the Celica. We got a fan set up in here in addition to having both doors open just to get adequate airflow because of the lead fumes. If you guys want to see the actual leading process of what he's doing, I'm gonna link up above a video to Fred doing the leading process on their channel. And in the meantime, see all these little tiny indentations that are not completely out of the metal? That's what he's gonna be filling with the lead. So this will be super smooth like a brand new body panel. Because this is essentially impossible to remove every single little imperfection. This process is actually super neat. I highly recommend checking out their video on it. It's like he's brushing a robot's teeth with a giant chunk of lead, and the robot is my car. It smells so incredibly toxic inside my shop. It is not even funny. Like outside the door, you can still smell it. So he just finished up the rear quarter panel on the passenger side. So much better than before. I'll have a minimal amount of skim coat. Since there was a seam between the sheet metal under the back bumper and the rear quarter, and that's now filled in with lead, instead of trying to recreate it, I'm gonna have Fred lead the other side so those seams will be shaved and it'll be nice and smooth underneath the back bumper. You only see about that much of the seam below the back bumper. Just like soldering, he just tinned the surface with the lead, getting it nice and hot and sticking that lead butter into the seam. Some will say this makes body work later for repairs in the future difficult, but honestly, it would be difficult regardless with that seam there or not. So it's subtle, and I think it'll make it look a lot cleaner back there. It's the exact same process they do at the factory when they attach the roof panel. Mission accomplished. I just snapped my thumbnail off. That felt lovely. Rear quarter panel is good to go. Completely leaded and ready to bodywork. Passenger side seam is filled to match. Charlie's holes that he filled in the headliner look amazing. Also went over it to make sure there's no warpage from the weld. It's perfectly nice and smooth now. And the headliner, when the back window goes in, will just get glued back into place. There's no defects or tears or anything wrong with it. It's good to go. This video is 4 full days of work. I didn't film, obviously, all of it. So I'm gonna go now I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye.